in debt, what do you say to them about, again, like politicians that are just ignoring this and just
Right.
acting like it's not?
Right. Students who are carrying an unreasonable uh, debt load really need to get involved politically. Right now, the demand for ending student debt has currency. Political candidates, presidential candidates are talking about this. Candidates running for Congress are talking about this. I can remember a time, if I walked into a room and said we should end student debt, people would look at me like I was crazy, but now it is a topic that comes up during presidential debates, interviews with political candidates, when people are doing political analyses, writing articles in the Times and the Washington Post and all other newspapers. Everybody's talking about student debt. So now, those young people that are walking around with this debt, they should strike while the iron is hot. They should call, write, have meetings with their elected officials, tell them that they support eliminating the student debt. And most importantly, I don't know why we don't have massive demonstrations of young people in the streets of America calling for an end to student debt. One of the things that people should not do is give in to despair. The powers that be seem so strong sometimes that we think, well, whatever I do is not going to change the situation. Let me tell you something. You might be changing the situation and not even know it. So it's important for young people to be politically involved and to be politically mobilized to go to the ballot box, mobilized to march in the street, and mobilized to use their dollars in a way that will help to change their situation. For instance, the average political donation to Bernie Sanders' campaign was $27. So it pays to make a donation to those candidates who are talking about eliminating student debt, so contributing to campaigns help. But the most important thing is to be vocal, to be organized, and to mobilize. It's interesting, this question of student debt. I was a student at Princeton University in 1974. The first political rally I ever went to on campus was about tuition increases. And at that time, I was asked to speak at that rally, which happened at the Woodrow Wilson School on Princeton University's campus. And at that time, in 1974, which was almost 40 years ago, maybe closer to 50 years ago, I said at that time in my speech to the 250 students that were gathered, I said that student loans are turning us into indentured servants. This was in 1974. I said the loans are so great that we would work for the rest of our lives to pay off these loans. And that's what has happened. I mean, if you're a college graduate today and you graduate and you're lucky enough to get a job, your first job, let's say you go right to work after you graduate, you're 22, 23 years old, you get a job making $40,000 a year, maybe even $50,000 a year. If you're paying $1,200 a month on your student loan, you'll never leave your parents' house. You'll never have enough money to get out on your own, have your own apartment, have your own car, etc. So we need to do the young people of this nation a great favor and eliminate student debt. If we could bail out corporations and banks to the tune of $1 trillion or several $1 trillion, we bailed them out in 2008 with $1 trillion bailout. In this most recent stimulus legislation, we've given them $6 trillion. If we can give them all that money, we have enough money to eliminate student debt. The money is there. What we need is the political will. And if I'm U.S. Senator, I will get on the Senate floor and I will filibuster, if necessary, to get legislation passed to eliminate student debt for the young people of this country.